The mockery begins. The cosmic crossroads bar hummed with activity as beings from dozens of different worlds mingled in the heart of Nexus Prime, the galaxy's largest neutral trading station. Holographic advertisements flickered in alien languages while the soft buzz of universal translators filled the air. The establishment served as a meeting ground for merchants, diplomats, and travelers from every corner of known space. Behind the curved quantum steel bar, Alina wiped down glasses with steady hands. Her brown hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and her plain gray uniform bore no distinguishing marks. To any casual observer, she appeared to be just another human working service jobs in alien space. Her movements were efficient but unremarkable, the kind of person most beings would overlook without a second thought. The afternoon crowd was typical for Nexus Prime. Crystalline beings from the inner worlds discussed trade routes with fur-covered merchants from the outer rim. A group of mechanical entities sat in one corner, their optical sensors glowing as they processed data streams. The atmosphere was peaceful, professional, and cosmopolitan. That peace was shattered when three figures entered the bar with an unmistakable air of superiority. Lord Zephyr led the group, his magnificent avian features immediately drawing attention. His feathers shimmered with an iridescent blue-green that marked him as high nobility among the avian confederacy. Golden talons clicked against the floor as he walked, and jeweled rings adorned his wing fingers. His beak was sharp and curved, perfectly designed for tearing flesh. Behind him strode Commander Thane of the Draconis Empire. His reptilian scales were deep emerald, and battle scars crisscrossed his muscular arms. Unlike Zephyr's ornate appearance, Thane wore military dress uniform with rows of campaign ribbons. His yellow eyes surveyed the room like a predator evaluating prey. A ceremonial energy blade hung at his side, its power cell glowing ominously. The third member of their party was Prince Kor, representative of the Hive Collective. His insectoid features were unsettling to most humanoid species. Multiple compound eyes covered his elongated head, while four arms moved with mechanical precision. Chitinous armor plates covered his body, and pheromone glands behind his neck released chemical signals that made nearby beings feel uneasy. The trio approached the bar with deliberate arrogance, their conversation loud enough for nearby patrons to hear. Other customers instinctively moved away, creating a buffer zone around the three nobles. The bartender continued her work, apparently unaware of the tension filling the room. "What a disgusting little establishment," Lord Zephyr announced, his voice carrying the musical quality common to his species. "Look at all these inferior beings mixing together like they're equals." His golden eyes swept across the diverse crowd with obvious disdain. Commander Thane settled onto a reinforced stool designed for heavier species. "The smell alone is offensive. How do they tolerate breathing the same air as these primitives?" His forked tongue flicked out, tasting the air with distaste. Prince Kor's multiple arms gestured dismissively. "The collective finds this mixing of species inefficient. Each race should serve its proper function in the galactic hierarchy." His compound eyes focused on Alina behind the bar. "Speaking of proper functions, human female, bring us drinks suitable for civilized beings." Elena looked up from her work, meeting their gaze with calm professionalism. "What would you prefer? We have selections from most major worlds." Her voice was steady, betraying no reaction to their hostile attitude. "Andromeda and ice wine," Lord Zephyr demanded imperiously. "The 2389 vintage, if this pathetic establishment can manage to stock it properly." He examined his talons as if Elena's presence was barely worth acknowledging. As she retrieved the expensive bottle from the climate-controlled storage unit, Commander Thane continued the verbal assault. "Tell me, human, do you ever wonder why your species is relegated to serving drinks while superior beings conduct important business?" His laugh was harsh and grating. Elena poured 3 glasses of the pale blue wine, each portion measured perfectly. "I imagine everyone has their role to play," she replied evenly, setting the drinks before them. Prince Kor's mandibles clicked in what passed for amusement among his kind. "Roles indeed. Humans exist to serve, nothing more. Your entire species produces excellent servants, I'll grant you that. Very obedient, very replaceable. The insults continued as the three nobles drank. Lord Zephyr regaled his companions with stories of recent avian victories against human colonies in the frontier sectors. You should have seen how quickly they surrendered when our battle cruisers appeared. Humans have no stomach for real warfare. Commander Thane nodded approvingly. The Draconis military has reached similar conclusions. Human ships are constructed from inferior materials, their tactics are primitive, and their soldiers break easily under pressure. We've conquered 17 human settlements in the past solar cycle without losing a single vessel. Delina continued serving other customers while listening to their conversation. Several alien patrons shifted uncomfortably as the nobles' boasts became more graphic and threatening. A few began settling their tabs and preparing to leave, unwilling to remain in the vicinity of such open hostility. Prince Kor leaned forward conspiratorially. The collective has been monitoring human communications. Their defensive capabilities are laughably inadequate. They still rely on kinetic weapons and basic energy shields. His compound eyes glittered with malicious amusement. Primitive projectile throwers, Lord Zephyr scoffed. While we wield plasma cannons and quantum disruptors, humans still fire metal slugs through chemically propelled tubes. It's like watching children play with toys. The conversation took a darker turn as Commander Thane pulled out a holographic display pad. This contains classified intelligence about upcoming military operations. 3 more human worlds are scheduled for subjugation within the next lunar cycle. He activated the device, showing detailed star charts and tactical assessments. Alina's hands never paused in their work, but her eyes briefly focused on the displayed information. System coordinates, fleet compositions, and invasion timelines scrolled across the hologram. The data represented thousands of human lives hanging in the balance. The beauty of fighting humans, Prince Kor observed, is their predictability. They always respond the same way to threats. Panic, desperate calls for help, futile attempts at negotiation, then collapse. The collective has developed algorithms to predict human behavior with 97% accuracy. Lord Zephyr raised his glass in a mock toast to human predictability and the profits it generates. His musical laughter carried an edge of cruelty that made several nearby patrons flinch. As the evening progressed, the 3 nobles became increasingly intoxicated and careless with their words. They discussed classified military positions, revealed the locations of secret bases, and boasted about intelligence networks operating within human space. Each revelation was more damaging than the last. Commander Thane activated another holographic display, this one showing surveillance footage from recent battles. Watch this recording from the Kepler 442 engagement. See how the human admiral tries to coordinate a defense. Pathetic tactical awareness. Delina glanced at the footage while polishing a glass. The images showed human ships attempting to protect a civilian evacuation convoy while under heavy alien attack. The sacrifice and courage displayed by the human crews was evident, even as their vessels were systematically destroyed. Humans waste resources protecting non-combatants, Prince Kor noted with disgust. Efficient warfare requires eliminating all resistance, regardless of age or combat capability. The collective understands this principle. The nobles' conversation continued to reveal sensitive information. They discussed the locations of prisoner of war camps, detailed analyses of human weaknesses, and plans for future expansion into human-controlled sectors. Each word was potentially valuable intelligence that could save countless lives. Other patrons had largely abandoned the immediate area around the bar. The atmosphere had become thick with tension and barely contained violence. Even the establishment's usual background noise seemed muted, as if the entire venue was holding its breath. Delina served the trio throughout their lengthy session, refilling their glasses and clearing away empty dishes. She appeared to be nothing more than an attentive service worker, invisible to beings who considered her species beneath notice. Her demeanor remained professional and unremarkable, exactly what her guests expected from a human bartender. As the station's artificial day cycle began to shift toward evening, Lord Zephyr stood unsteadily from his stool. We should return to our ships. Tomorrow brings new opportunities to demonstrate alien superiority over human inferiority. Commander Thane gathered his holographic displays, carelessly leaving several data chips scattered on the bar surface. Indeed, the next phase of operations begins soon, and I want to witness human desperation firsthand. Prince Kor's multiple arms moved in a gesture of dismissal toward Elena. Human female, your service was adequate for your species. Here is payment. He tossed a small credit chip onto the bar without looking at her. As the three nobles prepared to leave, Elena quietly touched a small device hidden beneath the bar. The gesture was so subtle that none of the departing aliens noticed. Across the room, seemingly random patrons received discreet signals through hidden communication devices. The evening was far from over, and the real show was about to begin. The Admiral revealed. Elena watched the three alien nobles prepare to leave, their arrogant laughter echoing through the now quiet bar. As they gathered their belongings, she made her decision. The intelligence they had carelessly revealed was too valuable to let walk away, and their threats against human worlds demanded an immediate response. Gentlemen, Elena called out, her voice carrying a new authority that hadn't been there moments before. I'm afraid your evening isn't quite finished. Lord Zephyr turned with an annoyed expression, his iridescent feathers ruffling with irritation. What could a human servant possibly want? We've already paid for our drinks. Elena reached beneath the bar and pressed a sequence of hidden buttons. The plain gray uniform she wore began to shimmer and dissolve, replaced by the distinctive deep blue and silver dress uniform of the Human Defense Coalition. 5 golden stars adorned her collar, while ribbon bars covered the left side of her chest. Most prominently displayed was the Medal of Galactic Honor, awarded only to those who had saved entire star systems. The transformation sent shockwaves through the three aliens. Commander Thane's scaled hand instinctively moved toward his ceremonial weapon, while Prince Kor's compound eyes widened in recognition. Lord Zephyr's beak fell open as he processed what he was seeing. Admiral Elena Vasquez, she announced calmly, Human Defense Coalition, 5th Fleet Command, currently operating under deep cover intelligence protocols. Her brown eyes, which had seemed so ordinary before, now blazed with fierce intelligence and barely contained power. The bar's other patrons, who had appeared to be random travelers and merchants, simultaneously shed their own disguises. Hidden weapons materialized from concealed holsters, while advanced scanning equipment emerged from seemingly innocent luggage. The customers revealed themselves as elite human intelligence operatives, special forces soldiers, and diplomatic security personnel. Commander Thane's voice cracked as he spoke. This is impossible. Human intelligence capabilities are primitive. Our surveillance networks would have detected any major military presence. Elena smiled coldly. Your surveillance networks have been feeding you carefully crafted disinformation for the past 18 months. Every primitive human colony you attacked was actually a heavily defended military installation disguised as civilian settlements. Every easy victory you celebrated was choreographed to make you overconfident. She activated a holographic display system that had been hidden within the bar's structure. 3-dimensional star charts appeared in the air, showing the true positions of human fleets throughout the galaxy. The display revealed a vast network of ships, bases, and defensive platforms that dwarfed what the aliens had believed was humanity's total military capability. While you've been congratulating yourselves on conquering 17 human worlds, Elena continued, you've actually been attacking elaborate decoys, staffed by volunteers, and defended by minimal forces. The real human colonies have been watching your every move and studying your tactics. Prince Kor's mandibles clicked frantically as he processed this information. The collective's intelligence assessments were completely accurate. Human technology readings, population centers, military responses, all of it matched our projections. Because we wanted it to match, Elena replied. Every sensor reading, every communication intercept, Every piece of intelligence your various empires gathered was carefully designed to reinforce your preconceptions about human weakness. We've been playing a very long game. Lord Zephyr's musical voice had become shrill with panic. What do you want from us? We are diplomatic representatives of sovereign powers. This is a neutral station. You cannot detain us here. Elena gestured toward the holographic displays, showing the data the aliens had carelessly revealed. Actually, I can. You've just committed acts of espionage by revealing classified military information in the presence of enemy agents. Under Galactic law, that makes you prisoners of war. She walked around the bar, her posture now clearly that of a seasoned military commander rather than a service worker. More importantly, you've provided me with detailed intelligence about planned attacks on civilian populations, the Avian Confederacy's assault on the Kepler system, the Draconis Empire's expansion into the frontier sectors, and the Hive Collective's algorithmic warfare protocols. All of it recorded and analyzed. Commander Thane attempted to bluster. Even if this is true, you're still just one ship on a trading station. Our combined fleets number in the thousands. What can you possibly accomplish? Elena touched her collar insignia, activating the communication system. Admiral Vasquez to Task Force Prometheus. Initiate Operation Revelation. The response came immediately through speakers hidden throughout the bar. Prometheus acknowledging. All units report ready status. Commencing Revelation Protocol now. Through the bar's transparent aluminum windows, the blackness of space began to fill with lights. Ship after ship materialized as their stealth systems deactivated, revealing a massive human fleet that had been hidden around Nexus Prime. The vessels ranged from sleek destroyers to massive dreadnoughts, each one bristling with weapon systems that made the aliens' technology look primitive. The Fifth Fleet has been stationed here for 6 months, Elena explained casually, along with elements of the 2nd, 7th, and 9th Fleets. Roughly 4,000 ships total, representing approximately 60% of humanity's active naval forces. Prince Kor's compound eyes tracked the appearing vessels with growing horror. This represents a military buildup that should have been detected by dozens of intelligence services. The energy signatures alone would have been impossible to hide. Unless you had help from the inside, Elena said with a slight smile. Your own intelligence networks have been compromised for years. Half of your most trusted agents have been feeding information to human intelligence services. The other half genuinely believe they're working for your interests while unknowingly providing us with exactly what we need. The three aliens exchanged terrified glances as the full scope of their situation became clear. They had walked into a carefully orchestrated trap that had been years in the making. Elena continued her revelation. The beautiful thing about being underestimated is that nobody expects you to be capable of long-term strategic thinking. While your empires focused on short-term territorial gains, humanity has been building a comprehensive intelligence network that spans half the galaxy. She activated another display, showing a complex web of connections between various alien governments, military organizations, and intelligence services. Red lines indicated confirmed human infiltration, while yellow lines showed probable compromise. The network was extensive and deeply embedded. Your species made a fundamental error in your assessment of human capabilities, Elena observed. You assumed that because we're relatively new to interstellar civilization, we must be primitive in all areas. What you failed to consider is that warfare and espionage are among humanity's oldest and most refined skills. Commander Thane's aggressive posture had completely collapsed. What happens now? Do you execute us as prisoners of war? Elena shook her head. Execution would be wasteful. You're going to help us prevent the war your empires are planning. She gestured toward the holographic displays still showing their earlier intelligence revelations. This information you've provided will allow us to neutralize your military preparations before they can threaten innocent civilians. And if we refuse? Lord Zephyr asked weakly. Then your empires will wake up tomorrow to find their entire military infrastructures have been surgically dismantled by human special operations teams, Elena replied matter-of-factly. We've been mapping your bases, monitoring your communications, and tracking your fleet movements for months. We know where everything is." The scope of human preparation was staggering. Alina showed them intelligence files containing detailed information about military installations throughout alien space. Base layouts, security protocols, personnel rosters, and defensive capabilities were all documented with frightening precision. "The choice is simple," Alina concluded. "Cooperate with a peaceful transition of power in the disputed sectors, or watch your military capabilities disappear overnight. Either way, the planned attacks on human worlds will not proceed." Prince Kor's multiple arms moved in a gesture of submission. "The collective will need to consult with the prime nodes before making such a momentous decision. You have 6 hours," Alina informed them. "After that, Operation Checkmate begins, and your options become much more limited." As if summoned by her words, teams of human personnel began entering the bar. They wore the distinctive uniforms of various coalition intelligence services and military branches. The aliens found themselves surrounded by experts who had been studying their species and governments for years. Alina returned to her position behind the bar, though her uniform remained visible. "Gentlemen, I believe your empires will find that negotiation is preferable to annihilation. Humanity has learned much during our brief time among the stars, and we've become quite good at protecting our interests." The 3 alien nobles stood in stunned silence, processing the complete reversal of their situation. They had entered the bar believing themselves to be superior beings discussing the conquest of primitive humans. They were leaving as prisoners of war, facing the reality that humanity was far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. As they were escorted away by human security personnel, Alina poured herself a drink from the expensive Androndan wine they had demanded earlier. The liquid was cold and refreshing after a long day of maintaining her cover. Around the bar, human operatives began the process of analyzing the intelligence they had gathered. The 3 aliens' careless revelations would save thousands of lives and prevent a devastating interstellar war. More importantly, they had demonstrated that humanity's reputation for weakness was carefully cultivated misinformation. Alina raised her glass in a quiet toast to the empty bar. Sometimes the best way to win a war was to convince your enemies that you had already lost it. Humanity had learned that lesson well, and the galaxy would never underestimate them again.